Hello, this is Danny from T&D Productions. There has been an issue I have come aware of recently. The word expat is controversial in some circles. In the next two videos, we will be looking at this issue, compiling interviews with other expats for their views, and examining the views of other YouTubers. But before we delve into the meat of this controversy, I must remind you to go ahead and subscribe and like this video. Also, check out some of our other videos about expat life. So let's get started. The term expat is, of course, short for expatriate, a term that was used for someone who has given up their citizenship to live in another country. However, the modern definition is, according to Oxford Dictionary, a person who lives outside their native country. In today's society, some people think the word expat isn't inclusive.
When you talk about race, normally an expat is a term only reserved for a white person, or initially was reserved for a white person, while immigrant is normally reserved for a black and brown person, though this does vary based on your citizenship and nationality, which leads us to where you're born. So if you look at expat, normally that's a person from the global north, so who benefits from Western privilege and given those advantages, while an immigrant is from the global south.
While some don't even realize there is a problem or controversy using it at all.
Mr. Korea, making a video about the controversy of using the word expats. Okay, a lot of people think it's offensive and gives connotation to privilege, expat. What do you think? Can I record your response? Yeah, but I never thought about expat as being something that is controversial. Never once thought that. No. I hope you recorded that.
So, if using expat to refer to yourself and others is exclusive to white people, and immigrant is used for non-white, is there any Caucasian person who considers themselves an immigrant? Let's ask long-term Busan, Korea resident Patrick Guilfoyle what his opinion is.
Well, first I need to say to you that I have what is called an F5 visa. An F5 visa is a permanent residence visa. It's similar to the green card, so I can vote locally. So in that sense, I'm almost like a quasi-immigrant. But no, I don't really consider myself an immigrant because I have no intention of giving up my Canadian citizenship, so I can still consider myself an expat.
As you see, he is very Caucasian. He could be the definition of an immigrant, which, according to Oxford Dictionary, a person who comes to live permanently in a foreign country. The word permanently. That is the distinction that sets these two words apart. A YouTuber known as the Naked Guru Thailand has this point of view.
We technically shouldn't use the word immigrant. And why is that? Well, that's because most people on most visas, whether they be retirement visas, marriage visas, or educational visas, or even business visas, will have the words non-immigrant stamped into their passport, which is the government reminding you that you are not an immigrant and you are not entitled to the rights that maybe an immigrant may have.
He says in Thailand, he is an expat, even though he is settled down with a family. It seems that in Thailand, they actually stamp your passport as immigrant or non-immigrant, since immigrants there have the rights that expats don't.
I would love to be an immigrant in this country, a true immigrant, and to enjoy all the rights that afforded. That would be a wonderful thing.
Then why do some people see expat as being set aside for Caucasian or the white race?
It is never that easy when we talk about these systems, okay? Because there is a scenario that affects people who look like me and have similar identities to me. For example, as a Black American, when I went to teach English abroad, I was considered an expat. And this goes against the history of who was considered an expat because I'm not white.
You really have to look at the intentions of the people in question. Person A would be going to live in a foreign country. They have every intention of returning to their homeland. They are an expat, no matter what their race or ethnicity. A good example of this would be Ernest Hemingway or Matthew Henson. Person B has a really rough time in their country and wants a better life in another country and is willing to assimilate themselves to the culture, become a citizen, and has no intention of returning to their native country. Think of the monks in Vietnam who fled the country to the U.S. to escape the communist regime after the war, or John Lennon, who migrated to New York City. They would be immigrants. So, before you label anybody an immigrant or an expat, take these into consideration. But we live in an imperfect world where not everything is black and white. Because of this, just refer to them as people and respect the fact they come from a different place from you. So, join us for part 2, where we will be asking questions to foreigners in Da Nang, Vietnam. What do they think? What do you think? Is there a discrepancy in the two words? What do you consider yourself? Until next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
May the force live long and prosper with you.